Alright, you guys, we are back with chapter 15, Right and Wrong. I got to Miss Donatello's English class with 47 and a half minutes left in the day. The clock was ticking on my life. One of them, at least. After attendance, Donatello told us that we were going to read parts of Romeo and Juliet aloud in class. It was written by William Shakespeare, who I believe is famous for writing the most boring plays in the history of the universe. This is a little advanced, Donatello told us, but I think you kids are up to it. Obviously, she didn't know the first thing about me. Allison Prouty, who raises her hand for everything, helped me give out the scripts while Donatello told us what parts we each had. When she got to me, she said, "Rafe, I think you'd make a fine Paris." And everyone in the room started laughing, right at me. "Paris?" I asked. "Why do I have to read a girl's part?" "Paris is a boy," Donatello told me. "He's one of Lord Capulet's best men." "Yeah, well, he probably still wears tights," I said, but Donatello ignored me. "Listen to the language as we read through," she told everyone. "Notice how every line has 10 syllables. Notice the subtle rhyming. That's not easy to do. No one wrote like Shakespeare. Nobody." And I thought, idea in progress. Please stand by. "Let's begin," Donatello said. Act 1, Scene 1. It turned out that this Paris guy, he really was a guy, doesn't come in until page 12. That was good. It gave me time to work on my idea. Donatello probably thought I was taking notes like Jean Galetta and the other brainiacs, but I was actually hot on the trail of those 30,000 points. 10 syllables per line? Check. Rhyming? Check. By the time we got to my part, there were only a couple of minutes left in class, but I was ready. Act 1, Scene 2, Donatello read. Lord Capulet and Paris enter. Jason Rice was Lord Capulet, and he had the first line. It went something like, "But Montague is bound as well as I," and blah blah blah. "For men so old as we to keep the peace," and blah blah blah. I told you it was boring. Now it was my turn. I put my paper over the script and looked down like I was reading from the right place. Then, loud and clear, I read, "Excuse me, sir, there's dog poop on your shoe." "Rafe," Donatello shouted, but not as loudly as everyone else was laughing. So I kept going. "Your wife is ugly and your daughter too. I think this play is stupid. So guess what? I'm out of here and you can kiss my..." That's as far as I got before Donatello the Dragon Lady ripped the page right out of my hand. I knew I was in trouble, but I'll tell you this much. It was totally worth it. Everyone besides Donatello was laughing, including Jean Galetta. Yes! And the thing was, no one was laughing at me anymore. Now they were laughing with me. That's like the difference between night and day. Or wet and dry. Or in this case, losing and winning. Chapter 16. Thin ice is better than no ice at all. Donatello didn't have to tell me to stay after class. It kind of went without saying. Once everyone was gone, she gave me a real talking to. "What was that about, Rafe?" she asked. "Nothing," I told her. "It wasn't nothing," she said. "First of all, let me say that I noticed you kept Mr. Shakespeare's meter and rhyme in what you wrote." "Thanks," I said. "But your behavior was completely unacceptable. There are much better ways to use your creativity, and I think you know it." I nodded a lot while she talked. It seemed like the right thing to do. Blah, 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 thin ice, blah, 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 blah. Yup. "I'm going to give you a warning this time," Donatello said. "But you're skating on very thin ice. Understood?" I didn't hear a whole lot of what she said. All I could think about was, no use of foul or inappropriate language at any time. 20K. Bonus? Extra big laughs. 10K. Bonus? Jean G saw. 5K. That was 35K points for the day. I'd taken Leo's challenge and blown it out of the water. Even better, I now knew for a fact that Jean Galetta knew I existed. That's what you call progress. As I was leaving, Donatello said, "I hope you've learned a lesson, Rafe." "Definitely," I told her. "A really good one." And the lesson was this. There were 2 ways to play Operation Rafe. The boring way and Leo's way. Oh, and I also learned that Leo the Silent is a genius. Chapter 17. New Rule. When I got home that afternoon, I went straight to my room with Leo, and we started putting everything that had happened so far into my Operation Rafe notebook. The rules I'd broken, the points I'd earned, and even some of Leo's pictures, to document the whole thing. We were just messing around, minding our own business, when I heard Bear start to roar from down the hall. "What are you doing?" he yelled. Then I heard Georgia. Nothing, she said. I just wanted to. I'm watching that. Don't change the channel. But you were sleeping. No buts, he yelled. You can watch the game with me or you can get out of here. What's it going to be? A second later, I heard footsteps. Then Georgia's bedroom door slammed. I hated when he yelled at her like that. Even more than when he yelled at me. She's just a little kid, and he's kind of like a little kid too, but the biggest, meanest little kid you ever saw. Pick on someone your own size, I yelled down the hall. Mind your own beeswax, Bear said back, and turned up the volume on the TV. It wasn't even worth trying to argue. You know what, Leo said as soon as I closed my door. We need a new rule. I was just thinking the same thing, I said. Nobody should get hurt from me playing Operation Rafe. Especially little kids, Leo added. And I agreed. I mean, if Miller the killer accidentally landed in the paper shredder, I wasn't going to cry about it, but otherwise... Call it the don't be a bear rule, Leo said. How about just the no hurt rule, I said. Good enough, Leo said, and I wrote that down in the notebook too. Rafe's no hurt rule. Nobody gets hurt. All risks are mine and mine alone. No exceptions. I'm not saying I'm some kind of saint. I'm not even saying this made me a better person. Whatever that means. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But if putting the no-hurt rule into the game could make me even a little bit less like Bear, then I was all for it. Because Bear was all about hurting. Chapter 18. Teachers want to break me, but I don't break. You know those vampire stories where the new guy doesn't want to drink anyone's blood until he gets a taste of it, then all he can think about is blood, blood, blood? Okay, maybe that's not a good example. The point is, now that I really knew how to play this game, I was starting to get into it. I spent the next couple of weeks just working on my technique. Leo started giving me bonus points for creativity, and that helped keep me motivated. But Leo wasn't the only one helping. This might be a good time to introduce you to some of the other people at Hills Village Prison for middle schoolers who, quote-unquote, motivated me to be the best I could be at Operation Rafe. Check it out. These are the cafeteria ladies. I call them Millie, Billy, and Tilly. I think they're part of a government program to get rid of the middle school population in this country, one lunch at a time. You stop that right now. Do not leave trash on cafeteria tables. This is my Spanish teacher, Senor Wasserman. He's okay as long as you don't make any mistakes, but if you do, watch out. Rafael, llegaste tarde. Rafe, you're late. No oí el timbre. I didn't hear the bell. Bonus 5k points. Anyone arriving after the second bell will be considered tardy. 7k points. No electronics allowed in class. 5k points. Mr. Lattimore is a gym teacher, and I'm not kidding when I say that nobody ever told him he wasn't in the army anymore. Hop 1, hop 2, 3, 4, hop 2, 3, 4. Private Catcher, whatever your name is. What do you think you're doing? No bikes, skates, or scooters are allowed outside designated areas. 20k points. Bonus 5k. The last one put me over the top. Mr. Lattimore didn't think the old scooter switch was very funny. Of course, Lattimore had a sense of humor surgically removed in 1985. He gave me 30 push-ups, 2 extra laps, and ta-da! My very first detention! I mean, it's not like I wanted detention, but at least now I get something out of it. 50k points. Dude! I guess you could say I was on a roll. Even when I got home that day, I was lucky. There was a message on the machine from Mrs. Stryker telling Mom to call the school. That wasn't the lucky part. Duh. The lucky part was when I got to it first, and accidentally on purpose hit the erase button. Mom was at work. Bear was asleep, and Georgia was digging a hole to Australia for all I knew. As long as nobody had planted any secret cameras around the house, hey, you never know, then I was going to be fine. Chapter 19. Apple Pie and Cinnamon. That sounds delicious. It was a typical Friday night. Mom wouldn't be home until late, and both Georgia and Bear were asleep by 9. Georgia because she's a kid, and Bear because he's always so tired after a long day of not working. I'm allowed to stay up late on weekends, and since Jean Galetta wasn't exactly begging me to go out with her yet, not yet, I just hung in and did what I usually do on a Friday night. First, I took a piece of Swiss cheese out of the fridge. Then I walked over to where Ditka could see me holding it up in the air, but not too close. Ditka, here boy. As soon as he came for it, I ran to the bathroom and threw the cheese inside. I've done this about a million times, but Ditka still falls for it. He pounced on that cheese like it was the last meal on earth, and I just closed the door and walked away. Problem solved. Next, I went out to the garage and snuck a can of Zoom out of Bear's not as much of a secret as he thinks it is stash. He keeps cases and cases of it out there, just for himself, but he never notices if a few are missing. Zoom tastes like chocolate and Coke mixed together. It has about 8 cups of caffeine in every can, which you never know, since Bear sleeps so much of the time. I drink mine out of a travel mug just in case, so he won't see what it is if he wakes up. After that came the really dangerous part. I tiptoed over to where Bear was sleeping and pried his fingers off the TV remote one by one. Then I very carefully slid the remote out of his hand. It's kind of like defusing a bomb. If it goes wrong, there's a big explosion and everything gets ruined. But if not, sweet. It's the only time I ever get to watch what I want. I surfed around and found a pretty decent movie about a guy trying to escape from an island prison by floating away on a raft made out of coconuts. I really wanted to see him do it, but I must have fallen asleep before it was over. Next thing I knew, Mom was waking me up, and there was some kind of infomercial on TV. Rafe, sweetie, it's time to go to bed. I could smell the apple pie and cinnamon on her uniform. She always smells like that when she comes back from the diner. When I'm lucky, she brings some home, and we get to have apple pie for breakfast the next morning. Mom put an arm around me and walked me back to my room. "How was your day?" she asked. "Above average," I told her, which was true. "You seem different lately," she said. "Happier." "It's nice to see." I didn't know what to say to that, so I just said thanks. Then she got this look on her face, like when she's trying to figure out what I'm thinking. "And Rafe, you haven't seen Leo lately, have you?" she asked. Ouch, I didn't see that one coming. Leo's kind of like a touchy subject in our house. This was the first time in a long time I felt like I had to tell Mom 100% lie, so I just shook my head no. Somehow it seemed better than lying out loud. Mom looked relieved, which is exactly why I lied, so she wouldn't worry. "Okay then," she said. "Remember, if you ever need to talk about anything." "I know, Mom. Thanks," I said. Then she hugged me and kissed me goodnight, which I was getting kind of old for, but I didn't mind so much. I really liked that cinnamon smell. Alright, guys. I can kind of already tell where this is going with Leo, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you don't see what's coming, I don't remember this book at all, so I don't know for sure, but I can assume what is going on with Leo. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I love you guys so much. Wonderful and safe day. Pardon me. And yeah, I love you guys so much, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow or later today. Goodbye. Mwah.